Brazil. Lap 6, Charles LLC gone. Lap 39, Lewis Hamilton retired, 0 points. 0 excuses, and Ferrari falling apart. In front of the entire world. But the real disaster didn't happen on track. It happened 48 hours later in Milan when Ferrari's president stood in front of cameras and said the one thing no driver ever expects to hear. They need to talk less and drive more. Not a private warning. Not a team meeting behind closed doors, a public execution. Because this isn't just about one bad weekend. This is about power, blame, and what happens when a dream becomes a nightmare. Lewis Hamilton joined Ferrari, believing he'd finally complete the story. 7 world championships. 1 missing piece, the red suit, the glory, the 8th title that would cement him as the greatest of all time. Instead, he got the SF-25, a car born broken, a machine so flawed that even Charles L. Claire Ferrari's golden son, who spent half a decade extracting miracles from disaster, couldn't hide the cracks anymore. The problem, a fundamental design error. The car can't run at the ideal ride height. The floor doesn't generate enough downforce. And every upgrade, too little, too late. By Australia, they knew by mid-season they'd given up entirely, freezing development, shifting resources to 2026, and leaving Hamilton in to fight with a car that would never improve. Hamilton's season 148 points, his worst in over a decade. And after Brazil, after both Ferraris retired in chaos, he called it what it was. This is a nightmare, and I've been living it for a while. Honest, raw, human. But that honesty, that's what triggered John Elkann, because 24 hours later, Ferrari's president stood at a Stellantis event in Rome and fired back. The mechanics are performing well. The engineers are performing well, but the rest not up to scratch. The drivers need to focus on driving and talk less. Not a motivational speech, a declaration of blame. Elkann praised the pit crew. He defended the technical team. He even celebrated Ferrari's endurance racing success in Bahrain, a championship won by a squad that doesn't even operate out of Maranello. But the Formula One drivers, the 2 most decorated names in the garage, were thrown under the bus. Here's the twist. The car they're being blamed for underperforming in, it was declared unfixable months ago. Ferrari themselves admitted it. They stopped developing it. They froze the aero package. They moved on. So Hamilton and Clerc were left driving a static, flawed machine while their rivals improved every weekend and then told to stop complaining about it. You can't make this up. And the paddock, stunned because this wasn't just a boss critiquing performance. This was Ferrari's president, the man who personally signed Lewis Hamilton to a record-breaking contract, publicly questioning whether his $50 million investment was worth it. Let's be clear about what Hamilton actually said after Brazil. He didn't attack the team. He didn't throw engineers under the bus. He said, "It's obviously a disaster for us, but I'm trying to keep my head above water. I believe something will come out of all these hardships." That's not criticism. That's a man trying to stay positive in a season that's broken him. And later, he was literally taken out in someone else's accident through no fault of his own. He qualified brilliantly, 3rd on the grid, drove cleanly, and was collected by another driver's mistake. Yet, Elkann's response lumped them both together. Talk less, drive more. But here's what makes this moment so explosive. Clerc has been Ferrari's best performer for 5 years. He's extracted podiums from cars that had no business finishing top 3. He's sacrificed the prime years of his career waiting for Ferrari to build him a championship car. And Hamilton, he's a 7-time world champion who left Mercedes, a team he built into a dynasty, to help Ferrari end their 2-decade title drought. These aren't the problem. The SF-25 is the problem. The technical errors are the problem. The decision to abandon 2025 development is the problem. And, yet, it's the drivers being told to stay silent. The fallout was instant. Fans flooded social media, split between those applauding Elkann for showing leadership, and those accusing him of scapegoating. The only two people keeping Ferrari relevant this season. Inside Maranello, tension, Hamilton responded with quiet defiance. I back my team. I back myself. I will not give up. Not now, not then, not ever, not anger, not defensiveness. Took the diplomatic route, calling for unity, but sources close to him say he was stunned after everything he's given Ferrari: loyalty, patience, performances that masked their failures to be publicly rebuked felt like betrayal. And now the pressure shifts entirely to 2026. Because Ferrari's gamble is Allen on the new regulations, new engine, new car, new era. But there's a problem. Rumors are already circulating that Ferrari's 2026 power unit could be down 30 horsepower compared to Mercedes. If that's true, it's game over before the season even starts. Leclerc has reportedly warned the team, mess this up and I'm gone. Hamilton signed for multiple years, but how long will a seven-time champion tolerate mediocrity? Ferrari is at a crossroads in Aachen. The clock is ticking. Scenario 1. Ferrari nails 2026. The car is fast, the engine delivers, Hamilton and Leclerc finally get the machine they deserve, and Maranello returns to glory. Scenario 2. Ferrari stumbles again. Another flawed design, another power deficit, and both drivers activate exit clauses, leaving Ferrari to rebuild again. Scenario 3. The tension explodes mid-2025. One driver leaves early, internal warfare becomes public, and Ferrari's dream of unity becomes their nightmare of division. So, here's what we're left with. Was Elkann trying to motivate his team or protect his engineers from blame? Will Hamilton and Leclerc stay silent and drive, or will their patience finally break? And the biggest question of all, can Ferrari actually deliver in 2026? Or are we about to watch this same story repeat itself? Because if there's one thing Ferrari has taught us over 20 years of failure, it's that the problem was never the drivers. It's the team that keeps letting them down. If you made it this far, you already know this season's not about who's fastest. It's about who survives the politics. So tell me, who's really pulling the strings behind Formula One's big